As- Hello, and welcome to another episode of Self Improvement for Women. My name is Hope. I am your host, and today I have my friend and my one of my fellow entrepreneurs, and she is amazing in every sense of the word. I have Jenny Alberti here. She is the CEO of Introverts She Wrote Publishing, which is a new project for her that she has taken on this new role. But she is also a content marketing coach. So she knows all things visibility as well as the written word and communicating yourself in that aspect. So hi, Jenny. I'm so excited you're here.
Hi, Hope. I'm so excited as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
Yes, I'm so excited for you. You have so much going on right now. And we talked a little bit the last time that we jumped on Zoom. And being an introvert in business is hard, right? Or it can be really hard. So I would love for you to give the audience an idea of what you've gone through to get to where you are today. And especially in that sense of entrepreneurship and sales and marketing and all of those things.
Yeah. So, yes, it can be really challenging. It could be very um, hard to find your way, especially being an introvert. And even though there is a huge majority of people that are introverted, a lot of times people either don't know it, right? I didn't realize it until I was in my late 30s. And there's also a population that doesn't really want to admit it because of how society has framed being shy or quiet or socially anxious or awkward, right? So, yes, being an online entrepreneur could be extremely hard. And for me, it really was in the beginning, because I came into this world thinking that I was just going to transfer my skills that, I had done in person in sales and in marketing face to face, and it was going to be all good, right? And then I realized, okay, there's a whole lot that I don't know about the online space and networking and collaborating and marketing in general. So I had to get a coach. I got a lot of coaches. I joined a lot of masterminds. I spent a lot of money. And I ran into something that I had experienced pretty much my whole life. But at that point, I started my online business in 2018, and I still hadn't realized how introverted I was. I knew that I enjoyed my solitude. I enjoyed my private time. I did not ever like big crowds. I have social anxiety still that I battle. Going into a big crowd, big party or whatnot, that's just not my thing. I would like try to get out of it any way I could, even if it was like my best friend's stuff, like my best friend's weddings or bridal showers. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I get out of this? Right. Because there's going to be all these people and it's draining. Right. So coming onto this online space, I'm like, okay, I need to learn. So I go and I get a coach, and I ran into this, okay, you need to be aggressive. You need to be assertive. You need to put yourself out there. You need to show up. You need to be like this Tony Robbins type of personality, which is how it seemed, like this giant thing that I needed to be. And I didn't do that. I wasn't successful with that in real life. In real life, I did things my way. And yes, I was overlooked quite a lot for promotions and for getting certain. I worked in fitness, and I was a manager and a district manager and an operator of different gyms and studios. And I was oftentimes overlooked because I wasn't the aggressive, loud, talkative one that wanted to share their ideas and have the attention on them in meetings, right? So oftentimes I was overlooked, but I did find success in my own way. I thought I was going to be able to do that in the online space, and then coaches and masterminds, and they told me no. No, you're not, you can't, you need to show up. You need to, right? You hear that all the time. You need to show up. But it was to show up in their way,
Mhm.
which to introverts, this is the extrovert ideal. This is this ideal that has been glamorized of being this big, outgoing, talkative, friendly personality. And those of us that are not that, we're seen as unfriendly, or we don't have any good ideas, or whatever it is. And it was very hard for me. I almost quit several times. There was one time where a coach that I had paid a lot of money to help me find my way told me that I should rethink being a coach because I couldn't send 100 cold messages to strangers every day. And in that moment, I had two options, right? Like, do I quit? Is he right? He's probably right. I should probably contact my previous boss and I should go back to work, right? And then it just hit me right then. This was a pivotal moment in my career, my journey as an entrepreneur, where I said, no, I know that I'm meant to do this. I know that I'm meant to help women. I know that I want to help them get out of that 9 to 5 and get away from all these social expectations. And so I stayed with it. And I was like, forget that. This is that extrovert ideal that I was just starting to learn about. That it's, I've been pressured into these things my whole life. And since kindergarten, I've been misunderstood. My teacher in kindergarten thought that I couldn't read because I wasn't as talkative as the other kids. So it's been a lifelong thing for me. And now it's my mission. It's my mission to help introverted female entrepreneurs realize, hey, you don't need to go the extroverted way. You don't have to wear this mask. You don't have to drain yourself. You don't have to live in a way that feels out of alignment with who you truly are at your core. Your introverted nature and personality is actually a strength. So lean into that.
Yes.
So that's my story on how I got to this point.
And it's funny, like, so you and we're similar, but we are very different. And I aspire to be the Tony Robbins larger than life person, right? But I do catch myself, I get drained. I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't talk to anybody else for the rest of the day. I can't, right? I
Yeah.
can't take it. And I have depression and anxiety, and PTSD and stuff like that. So I work through all those things, and it's on when I'm going through those moments and I'm working through those things, that is when I will find something else to move the needle in my business other than getting loud, getting on camera,
Yeah.
getting people amped up, right? Because there's so many different ways to connect and to
Yes.
sell,
Yes.
aside from just being on a stage and screaming and being like, yeah, and hyping everybody up, right?
Yes.
You're the written word, the creative side, and the solitude. Those are the three strengths that we're going to talk about today that you came up
Yeah.
with, that are amazing in entrepreneurship. And on a side note too, for those of you that are watching at home and you have been like thinking to yourself, I really want to start this business, but I don't want to cold DM people. I don't want to be an aggressive salesperson. There's two ways to sell, right? There's a lean back approach, and then there is the aggressive approach. The aggressive approach is, the cold DMs, like in your face, like, hi, nice to meet you. Here's what I have. Like, and that can be very inauthentic. And that is one thing I steer away from, as being extroverted as I am and being, this loud, crazy person. That is not the way to connect with anyone. And it's very inauthentic. It's just a dirty sales pitch is what it is. And nobody likes that. And how do you actually know if you're going to be able to help that person unless you get to know them first?
Mhm.
And that is the only goal, right? We just want to help people. And so I just love that you have an amazing approach, when you get to know somebody, and you're so easy to talk to, and and a lot of introverts are, right?
Yeah.
And you're so easy to talk to. And I think it's so relatable because it's it's just this massive, it's almost like a cloud that hangs over some heads. I know, because I know I talked to a couple clients about this, and it feels like this daunting task, right? To show up online and do the lives, do the interviews, do all the videos, the reels, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not a necessity to move the needle in your business. So I love this. Let's talk about the strengths, right? Let's jump into that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head, is that there isn't one way. There isn't just one way. And oftentimes when you join, programs and groups and masterminds, they're designed to teach you that one way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to stick to that no matter what, because that's what they teach, right? But it's important that not only introverts, but everybody knows that there's so many other ways, like you just said. And to be honest, I didn't show up on camera. I didn't even think about showing up on camera until I had already made $50,000 in my own coaching business. And then I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit more, grounded in what I'm doing and motivated to show up a little bit more. And then it was like kind of pushing my comfort zone from the inside out, rather than, you hear all the time, everything's outside your comfort zone. You got to, way outside there is where the magic happens. And it's like, that's true. But for introverts, our comfort zone is where the magic happens. That's where the strengths are. So, to that effect, the first strength is that solitude. It's a strength in an entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, introverts have this natural comfort, right, of going solo, and they don't need to lean on others, right, to bounce ideas off of, or to even get things done. We have this natural comfort in working alone, and we don't need other people to kind of tell us whether an idea is good or not, or, is this worth pursuing, right? We can do those things and we think them through carefully. And that's one of the things that we do, is we think a lot, right? So we could think these ideas through, and we're not relying on other people. We kind of rely on our own internal compass, right? And there's no need for external validation. And it allows us to really dive into our vision, our mission, and our goals. So that solitude, where, the extrovert ideal is kind of like work in groups, right? In school, even grade school, all the way up, you group projects, like, and I would always figure out how to get out of those or whatever. But it's true, in entrepreneurship, it's you don't need to work in groups. It's good to have people to network and collaborate with, like you and I are right now, and I have people around me, but I don't rely on them to build my business. So that's where solitude is one great strength of an introvert. And sometimes people look at that as, well, who are you going to bounce those ideas off of, and who's going to validate whether this is good or not, or who's, but it's a strength. It's actually a strength. So it actually brings me to the second strength, which is being in that solitude. It actually promotes creativity.
Yeah.
So the first strength just kind of rolls right into the second strength, and creativity being that second strength. We're very creative, kind of naturally. Not to say that we're more creative than extroverts. I'm not saying that. But when we couple that creativity with the solitude, and our concentration and our focus, because of that, we could come up with some revolutionary things, right?
Yes.
Products, services, and programs.
To interject very quickly, and
Absolutely.
this is a message to my extroverted girls, right? When I am go 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 all the time, and I'm so excited, and I'm doing all the things, and I'm like, got crazy hair, got glasses on the head, all this craziness, I have to consciously take time to calm myself down to sit with myself so that I can clear space in my head for inspiration to come to me. And I think that introverts have this innate ability to contain their calm and to keep that channel open in their mind. And there's all of my introverted friends are great writers, great at painting, photography, just an incredible intellectual ideas. Whereas for me, I have to study something really, really hard, and I have to talk about it over and over and over again and a lot to consistently, I guess I want to say, to sort things out. For me to sort things out that makes sense to me, I have to talk about it, right? And introverts have this innate ability just to take in the information and then to reproduce or regurgitate something incredibly awesome. And I just, like, for you guys, I can only imagine like what meditation and stuff would do for an introvert, because for me it's like this opening of the channel, right? But you guys just have this amazing ability. And when you're doing the creativity side of stuff, that is so important in your business. Like, it's important to come up with programs and stuff, but you guys take it to the next level because you've thought everything through to a T, right?
Yeah. And, let's be honest, in the online space, like, it's extremely important to be creative and to stand out, right? Like, there's so much competition. So we don't want to do what everybody else is doing. We want to have that, kind of that blue ocean effect where we're not swimming in that red ocean full of competition. And the ability to be creative, I think that introverts have the clear advantage here, so to be able to have that creative space to come up with these different services. So yeah, um, it's just interesting to really see, you know, of what's coming up and what's new in coaching and consulting and even we'll get into it in a little bit, but even what I'm doing with book publishing, these things that are new and fresh. It's like, okay, were they introverts or extroverts? Like, it's just kind of fun and interesting to think about that stuff, like what's their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely. And so, and the other portion of that is communication, right?
absolutely.
And
Yep.
that kind of communication is key, right? Because we're going to tie in sales, we're going to tie in your creativity and how you stand out. And then we also tie in what your programs look like, what your services look like. Um, I am not too creative of a person. I will say that. Like, it takes a lot for me to like come up with something awesome that I'm really proud of. And my communication skills. So I went to college for journalism.
Mm.
And then I quit college because I didn't want to write what they wanted me to write about. So then I started this blog, and the audience already knows. I have the blog 4'11" for recovery and sobriety.
Mm.
And that became an outlet for me when I was gaining back all my confidence and becoming who I used to be, right? And the written word, and we talked about this too. So I want you to go on and tell the audience how the written word is more effective sometimes than jumping on the live stream or the video.
Yeah. Well, you have to think that so much of our business, right, is marketing online through social media posts, through websites, through sales pages, through blogs, right? Most introverts prefer to communicate in writing versus what we're doing, right? And this has taken me a lot to be able to even have this kind of conversation on Zoom. And it's just so funny thinking back, like, even way back, I wouldn't even be on camera. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to them, but I'm not going to be on camera. And it's like this evolution. And the deeper that I really understood my purpose and really understood, who I was here to serve, the mission got bigger than, my need to be hidden. So there's that part of it. But truthfully, I got to this point through communicating through writing. And most introverts, like I was saying, they prefer to communicate in writing because, going back to what we have already talked about, really thinking things through. We could do that when we're writing something, but when we're here in the moment, we can't really think things through. We have to be really confident and really secure with our conversation verbally. And it's like almost second nature, right? But when we're communicating and writing, we get to really think about what we're going to say and make sure that it's perfect and it's really framed the way we want it and the tone is the way we want it. And it gets to be perfection, right? And it's just that being able to effectively communicate our message in writing is just a huge benefit, right? Because of the social media posts and all of those things, we're able to communicate and attract the people that are just like us. And we could do that exactly the way that we want it to come through.
Yes. And like there's a whole realm as far as entrepreneurship goes about copywriting
Yeah,
and like attracting, your ideal client through the words that you're using in your social media.
right.
And one thing I noticed, because Jenny has an amazing Facebook group, you guys. It is her female entrepreneur visibility community. And everything that she posts is like gold. And I want to just like copy and paste it into my computer so that I can save it. Because it's pure gold. It's not just flashy words, right? It's not just what buzzwords, using those types of things. Like genuinely, I think the people that you attract, and I've seen it because of your engagement within your group, are genuine, authentic people that are interested in what you have to say because it is written, you're speaking directly to them, right? It's rather than just throwing a post out there, slapping something together and saying, oh, I'm selling this. You're giving them the full spectrum of, who you were, what happened, how you got to where you are, and this is how you help people. And it's very late. It's easy to read first and foremost, but it's also easy to connect with emotionally. And I think there's a lot of emotional connection within writing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's also the way that I actually teach my clients is to speak to the reader's subconscious, because the subconscious is actually running the show, right? It's making 1,000 decisions per second based off of experience, based off of what it knows is true to you, what's not true to you, all of these things. So I actually teach people, yes, 100% emotion needs to be emotionally charged. I personally believe that if a post isn't emotionally charged, it's not worth my time to read it, because I want to feel something when I read a post. I want to be inspired, or I want to be happy or something. I want something, right? But when we talk to the subconscious, we kind of are immediately making that reader like you, feel like they resonate with you. And then also, oh my goodness, I need to listen to, that's me. I need to listen to this.
Mhm.
And it's the subconscious that is like scrolling, right? Or stopping. So when we could get the reader to just kind of stop, and it's not, it used to be like, oh, the what do they call it? The headlines were like, I can't, the name of it escapes me right now, where you're kind of like making somebody stop the scroll because it's like bait, right?
Yeah, yeah, clickbait. Yeah.
Clickbait. Oh my
Clickbait.
gosh. Good morning. Yeah, clickbait, right? And it used to be like the thing is to get them to stop because of that. And it's like, oh, I got to read this because it's controversial or whatever. But it's more so just getting the subconscious to stop. Like, oh my gosh, that's me. I need to read that, right? And so I think that introverts are able to authentically come up with that easily. It's not something that we have to really dig in and try to come up with. We can emotionally attach ourselves to what we're writing. And also, when we're aware of who our people are, kind of like what you were saying about, my posts inside my group. When we know who our people are, we could speak to their subconscious. And so I think that that's something that anybody can do. It's not just an introvert thing. It's just a little bit easier for us, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, when I go to write, I have a lot of difficulty. Again, I'm not very creative. But when I'm writing something, like the blog was easy. I was really passionate about it. I was going through a lot
Mm.
and I was emotionally charged at that point. So it was easy for me to go
Yeah.
and get it all out there, and then I'd be like reread it and be like, this is really good. I need to share this. And I felt good about it. So sometimes in sales and in entrepreneurship and in the online space, we don't always feel good about the stuff that we're posting. Like sometimes there's a sense of inadequacy or a
Yes.
sense of like feeling salesy or those kinds
Mhm.
of things. And so for me, when I go to write a post, it's not very often, but every once in a while, I will put a long post about like who I am, because I think it's really important for me to remember who I was and how I got to today sober, because that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for my people to know that too. Like I want all of my friends know that I'm sober. All of my friends know like that I went through X, Y, and Z, because it makes me who I am, and it makes it more of like I'm a real person. I'm not just an online personality, right?
Right.
And when you're writing these posts and you're speaking to the subconscious, you're you're speaking to that person in here.
Hmm.
It sounds, speaking to the subconscious. Yeah, I'm trying to like get them to stop scrolling. Okay, but you're speaking to their heart. They're resonating with you.
Exactly.
And that is genuine connection, and that is making genuine friendships that could arise, right? um Not everybody that you connect with you sell to in the online space,
Hmm.
but those connections are valuable, and there's something to be learned from each person, right?
Yeah. And that's a good point, Hope, is that I think that so much attention is on like, okay, create these posts and do this marketing and promote this way to get sales. And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, I mean, of course, that's why we have a business, right? Is to sell our services. But it's not the sole purpose, because those posts and those interactions, even comments in groups or whatever, that's how you and I have connected, right? They're not all to sell, it's to make connections, human to human connections. And from those connections, they get sorted where they belong, right? Like, our connection was not me trying to sell you on how to generate posts or create posts. It was a connection. It's mutually beneficial. And I think that there's just so much attention on creating and what you do in writing, right? We're still on that topic, is that there's so much attention on your marketing to sell. And I think that for introverts, there's a misalignment in our beliefs there, and for you too, like, it's not, again, it's not just introverts, but it's who we are at our core level.
And
There's
I wouldn't call it a misalignment. I think it's a benefit, like to know that I'm not putting my content out there just to make
yeah,
money. I'm putting
right,
my content out there because I am trying to help somebody.
yes,
So like when you look at things from that perspective, the money comes. It doesn't
yep,
matter. That
yep,
doesn't matter. The money will come. Just put yourself out there, put your help out there,
yeah,
and the money will come. But if
yeah,
you go at it with the good intention, the good heart, and making those genuine connections, then there's nothing to worry. The
right.
business will grow itself, right?
Right. It's the people that are teaching it
Yeah.
that this is what this is for. And when we are in those programs, it's like, oh, ooh,
Right.
this isn't, maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't be a coach, because if this is what I have to do, this doesn't feel good, right? Instead of having a coach like you or like me, where we're like, no, go out there with the intention to have a relationship, to make a connection, and then it's going to sort itself out and the money will come. 100%.
That's right. I love it. I love it so much. So you guys, so 3 strengths, just to recap real quick. Your solitude is a strength. Your communication through your writing is a strength, and you are more creative than you give yourself credit for, right? And that is beneficial in your business. So Jenny, I want to talk about you and this amazing new journey that you're on with your very own publishing company. This
Yeah.
is like new. How long has this been? Well, it's probably been in the works for a minute, but
It's so funny. I just posted yesterday, talk about posting. I posted yesterday a photo of a book that I created when I was 9.
oh, I saw
And
this.
it was like my author bio. Like I had a picture and right. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I have truly wanted to, this has been something I've always wanted to do ever since I was a child. Right. And this journey that has led me here, now at 40 years old, coming back to something that I was dreaming of when I was, in 3rd grade. It's incredible. So, everything, and I do truly believe that everything happens to us, not to us but for us, right? Everything we encounter in our lives, it brings us to a certain point where we're supposed to be. And I'm finding myself at that point where, okay, this is something I always knew I wanted to do, and here I have this mission and this reason and this purpose to do it, and that is to help introverted female entrepreneurs get out there and be visible in a way that plays to their strengths and get them this global visibility by telling their story, by writing, using that strength of communication and writing, and to get them to become a best-selling author. So yeah, how long has this been? It's been in the works for a few months. Officially have launched it this week.
That is
So
so exciting. So
I can honestly say like this is the most excited I've ever been in business in my life.
so what does owning a publishing company entail for you? Like what does that make your new day look like?
Yeah. It's just shifting a little bit in terms of, how I organize the interactions that like. I'm looking now, instead of I still have the coaching business, right? So I'm still, you know, helping my clients in terms of their content creation and messaging. Um, but now I'm looking at cover designs, and I'm, okay, here I have a couple of titles that I have in the works, and now it's like titles and subtitles, and who do I want to be in those individual containers, and who am I looking for? And then actually finding those connections. So it's a little bit different in terms of how I'm actually spending my day and who I'm interacting with. So yeah.
That is so awesome. I'm so excited for you because this is
Thank you.
huge. This is another business, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes in entrepreneurship we end up with multiple businesses um solely because it's just the way it works. Like
Yeah.
sometimes the coaching business, you're like, okay, that's why coaches have other programs too, which are all kind of separate little businesses because they all are very different. They may be similar and under the same umbrella, but it's a different branch of the tree, right?
Yeah.
And so that is so cool. I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Hope.
And on top of that, so yes, she's CEO. You guys heard it here first. Well, no, not here first, on her page first. But I get to be the first podcaster or the
Yes.
first TV host to talk about
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So, CEO of Introvert She Wrote publishing company, right? And she's also a content marketing coach. So you guys that are sitting at home and you're like, okay, well, you've watched Jenny, you've gotten to know her at this point. And if she is someone that resonates with you or you have further questions, I very highly recommend that you reach out to her. She will message you back. She is available. She coaches people all the time. She's
Yeah.
constantly active in her community. Again, her community is her female entrepreneur visibility community. I'm part of it. I love it. It's a great place to be. There's always exciting things happening in there, tons of great content. Awesome ideas, lovely ladies. And yes, thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
This has been fantastic. All right, you guys, we will see you on the next one.